Just saw this guy walking across the floor. I'm gonna have to raise him as my own now, just to catch him later and kill him. I don't have the heart to do it right now. See, it's kind of cold, so at first he was like, what the fuck? And then I just keep dipping this in milk. It's 1% cow's milk. But he takes to it. And you can just sort of suck it out of there at his own pace. Yeah, I'll give him a little bit more, re-dip it. It's going to be a shock, but he's used to it. This is the third time it being presented to him. So now he just knows the routine. He's probably getting kind of full at this point. I'll try putting him in this bowl. He can still jump out of there. If I had like a fish tank or something, I'd put him in it. And see, he crawls up in my hand. I've seen this play out before, exactly like this. Now he's kind of cleaning his face. He's probably pretty full. Put that in there. My hand, though, is warm, and it's a texture that he's more familiar with in the bottom of the bowl. So now I think what I'll do is cover the bowl, and I'll get some, I'll just cover it with a rag. I just happen to have a grease rag right here. I'll put them in a Tupperware container, get them set up, and I'll raise them. And we'll see how it goes. Put them in a big container. We wash the Tupperware, of course. Put my hand down. He crawls right in it. Move him. See, he prefers my hand than, plastic shit. But I'll go get some rags and put it in there. I'm 4 minutes in. So I'll give an update tomorrow. And then, of course, I'll have to tell my story about my mouse, or in case I got any new stuff. Chevy. I'll tell it real quick, I guess. There's my Paul's truck. And I saw a little baby mouse. It was a field mouse. This might be a field mouse too, because it got in my house from outside, right? So I guess in theory they're all field mice, but I think field mice look more like little kangaroos. House mice look like, little miniature gray Twinkies. I was going to step on it, but didn't have the heart, so I went and bought some milk, an eyedropper, nursed it back to health, and put it in a dresser drawer on the ground, on the floor in my apartment. Would put saltine crackers in there, and I'd soak some of them in milk, some of them in water. I remember I used cocoa powder, butter. I put a little like milk cap full of water in there so it could drink it. I did hand feed it with an eyedropper, as I did with this one too, and then I kind of dipped the paper towel so it soaked up the milk and let him kind of suck it out on his own pace. I even caught some bugs and killed them, grasshoppers, and put them in there. Built him a little nest, gave him paper towels to chew, and put little rags in there. Covered half side, or all of it, but like a little corner. That way, see, he's calm. It's dark. It's not a natural environment yet, but I'll get that set up for him later. I'm going to finish telling my story because, whatever. And I just left the corner open so he could have a little bit of light, but it would also keep the air kind of like enclosed, so it was a more calm environment. Had it on the ground, in case he jumped out the back or something, he wouldn't fall, and injure himself. One day I don't remember this was before or after, but I slept with a fan, and I heard squeaking in the middle of the night, and I followed the squeaking and found him in a corner, and he must have been dehydrated, so I nursed him back to health with water and an eyedropper. But anyway, I don't remember exactly how it played out, but when I would put my hand down, he would crawl in it, just like he does now. And one day he got out, and I figured, well, I just have a mouse in my apartment now. But I noticed when I got home from work, he or she would, come running out and greet me. And I'd put my hand down, and he'd crawl in my hand, and I'd put him in my shirt pocket, and he would just chill in there. One time, and so he would come see me every time I got home from work. And before work, no matter where I was at, because I would go use the bathroom, and he'd squeeze under the door, crawl back and forth across my feet, and then scurry away. So it's just like he was saying hello. One time he took a nap in my hand. I was just laying on the floor. Must have been, first he walked all over my hand peeing, so that was like, okay. Must have had a dream, because he was squeaking, and he squeaked and bounced out of my hand and then crawled right back in. So that's that. And then one night I slept in the living room on a futon. So it was a couch, and it folded into a futon. I felt something crawling on my shoulder. I thought it was a spider, so I smacked it. Turns out it was my mouse. Smacked him so hard that it killed him right away, and his eyes popped out of his head. So at first I just wrapped him in a paper towel, threw him in the trash, and I thought, well, he's going to start to stink fairly quick. And this was my mouse, so I didn't want to just throw him away. So at 2 o'clock in the morning on a work night, I drove this mouse out to a field and buried him in a shallow grave. And there was a shit ton of mice out there squeaking because you could hear them. So that's that. So now I have another mouse in my life. He's calm, he's chilling, he's in a dark environment. It's not natural, but I'll get that set up for him in just a bit. I'll make sure he's got I'll just do the same damn setup. I'll put a paper towel in there soaked with milk. I'll put a paper towel in there soaked with some creamer. That might be a bit much for him. He is just a little mouse after all, so 1%, milk. The first time I'm sure I just used regular. I'm not going to use anything super sugary like this apple juice shit I got. And I'll put some water in there in a little cap. I just happen to have a spare one. I'll put a couple rags in there, some paper towels for him to chew, something that he can chew and get results, so he can chew it. If he just chews the rag, that's all fine and good. But if he chews a little bit of paper towel, he's going to get little paper towel bits, and that might be more calming for him, whatever. And basically, I'm going to have another whack at raising a mouse. Sort of the same scenario. He's about the same size. His eyes aren't quite open yet. They're a little bit open. He's kind of wobbly when he walks. I just saw him walking across the kitchen floor, and I was like, I've seen this before. But those mice that I found that one day, that when they were like pink, a couple of them, there was like 5 of them, so a couple of them died within a few hours. I think one died a day later, and the next one the next day. But they were like still in their little pink phases. They would just sort of roll around. They'd squeak a little bit. They might be on their back, and they'd put their little paws in the air, but this guy's got more of a fighting chance. And if it does work out and I've got another tame mouse in my life, well, like I said, he'll eventually set up shop somewhere, under the washing machine, or, the way these cabinets are built, it's like the mice can find access points that people can't, like you stick your fingers up there and they crawl in there. So I guess I could just leave him, food and water, and just have a pet mouse. It'd be a shame, to have to, kill him. So, it's kind of a dumb situation. I ought to just turn him loose and wait till he gets older, but now I've bonded with him. He recognizes my touch, my warmth, and my scent. As retarded as that might sound, he's a mammal. He's a little mouse. That's how I view people, too. Well, they're all just mammals, really. And, mammals act a little bit differently than amphibians and reptiles. Generally, they have their plan for, mating, being born, growing up, and procreating. But, mammals, mice, they are technically in the mammal category. We're friends now. We are. It might sound silly, but this mouse knows me now. So now with the one mouse, I found that in my truck, later, and then I took it home to my apartment. So this mouse still has its mother or father or both and its siblings in this house. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I might end up catching him and killing him later. It depends on how friendly he is. I don't have the heart to take him out and just step on him, and he's kind of too small to shoot. I could kind of place him, wedge his tail under a mouse trap, because logistically, the way I would dispatch of the mice is I would kind of gently put my foot on the back of their butt. But if I just put it on their tail, I couldn't get enough surface area because of the tread of my shoes and or the gravel in the dirt road. So I would have to gently place my toe on their little mouse butt and then dome them in the back of the head with a BB gun. This guy, he's a little small, but I could kind of position him so as the base of his tail was trapped on the metal part of a mouse trap, and that would be enough. It might be kind of painful, but I'd quickly dome him in the back of the head and I'd damage my mouse trap. But actually, no, I wouldn't. And I could do it that way, but I don't know. Fucking mice. So I'm 15 minutes in. I got a little situation on my hands now. I should have just let him be. But of course, me being me, I'm like, hey, little fella. Hey, squeak, squeak. I've seen you before. I know you. I know you, little mouse. Come here, little fella. And now I'm, you know what I mean? So, don't make friends with mice. It only comes with hard decisions and heartache.